Hello everybody, and today we are going to be checking out a scenario where civilization starts over. We are now on episode 10 of our series, yeah that's right, double digits. In the last episode we saw the exponential growth of Central Asia, along with the entire colonization of the Mediterranean. If you guys do enjoy today's scenario, then please consider liking and subscribing. As of recording this, we have officially hit 100 subscribers. Yeah, let's go. Yep, turn it in. We got 100 subscribers on a brand new channel. Yep, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Yeah, let's go. Wait, where'd you guys go? Aww. But thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. And now we are on the road to 200 subscribers. And on that note, let's get straight into today's video. Now first, I'm going to start in the Caspian country, and they're going to do something a little bit strange. They're going to ensue a policy of mass expansionism up here in Caucasia and over here by Kazakhstan. They're going to send a lot of their exploration groups, now kind of abandoning the intents that they had with the gold team and trying to establish their own kind of area over here in Russia. For the most part, this does go successfully. They take a lot of land, and a lot of people are very upset about this because it feels like the Caspians are focusing more on the unexplored territory than their actual urban areas. And when urban people are mad, it's not good. So we are going to be seeing a rebellion break out in the south of the Caspian country. These guys, they're not a revolution, they are a rebellion, and they want to form their own state, of which will follow their legislation, which kind of leans towards more of the urban population rather than focusing on mass expansionism. This is going to have a lot of popularity in the south, and they're able to capture a lot of key areas. They're even able to ensue themselves as a non-solidarial rebellion. So at this point, more pockets can rise up if they feel like they have been wronged by the Caspians. And this is going to work very well for them, as a lot of the South is going to be forced to kind of secede over to this brand new movement. Eventually, a majority of the South is going to secede away and going to join the new South Caspian Revolution. And eventually, they're able to encircle the capital. Eventually, there are going to be a lot of bloody and gruesome battles that eventually lead to the collapse of the Caspian capital. At this point, we're going to see outside powers start to come in and take some land, with the yellow Afghan country taking this land. We see the brown team, once being the Caspian allies, marching in their troops. This is because in their country, a lot of people want to focus on urban people as well, and if they help out these rebellions, then maybe they can avert a similar situation to what the Caspian country kind of has going on inside them right now. So they are basically trying to avoid what is happening to Caspia. Eventually, they're going to be able to liberate a lot of the people down here in Caucasia, even reaching all the way here to Baku. This is going to assist the rebellion in taking out this pocket, and the brown team moves further north, now starting to quote-unquote liberate more of these people. The brown team is able to take a big chunk of land, and the Caspians have kind of been forced out of their southern territory. But I guess the sort of final nail in the coffin for the Caspians is that there is going to be a second rebellion breaking away and taking the areas of Turkmenistan. And this is going to be followed by a betrayal. This betrayal, of course, being the gold team now invading into the Caspians. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, how are the Caspians losing this easily able to win war? Well, it's because all of their military is up here, and all the military that's down here has defected to a side that is not on the Caspian side. So eventually, these rebellions, after gaining a lot more steam over here in the eastern Caspian, they're going to meet up and have very friendly relations with the gold team, who is able to shoot across the country and limit the Turkmenistan-y rebellion. And they're okay with that. But the gold team is just going to continue to go up north here, eventually stopping, and the front line looks like this. And now we can take a look at a peace treaty of the demise of South Caspia. Alright, and these are the lines that are going to be comprising our peace treaty. It is quite simple, so let's break it down really quickly. Starting over here in the west, we see the brown team taking a massive amount of territory both from the rebellion and Caspia. Speaking of the rebellion, these are their borders. Afghanistan will get this territory. The eastern Caspians are going to get these territories. And finally, the backstabbing gold team is going to acquire these territories. So now Caspia has been forced to relocate up north, and they're basically starting from square one. But there is a lot of potential to be had here. Of course, their growth is slow, as a lot of their military did defect, as I said earlier, but their exploration forces have definitely stuck to their origins. Caspia has been hell-bent on stopping the expansion of radicalized, peoples. This, of course, being shown with the light pink team over here, if you remember remember them kind of like the Mesopotamians here. They used to be here, and this is like the final remnants of them. And Caspia was an offshoot of these guys, and they are trying to stop the radicalized countries who are trying to take all this land. And of course, by this, they are attempting to refer to the Brown Team. The Brown Team has been a major power since the early days of Wixo, and now they are attempting to try and take on the Caspians. Caspia and the Brown Team have held relatively good relations, but now is sort of turned, not to a level of Cold War, but definitely to a level of a lot higher tension. But going away from that, we're going to go over here to Eastern Europe, where we're going to see the Danube country, the Romanians, and the Ukrainians all try and explore up into here. Of course, their forces are concentrated in different areas, so most likely we would see something that looks like this. But these countries are not very strong. But if you have land, you're strong. So they are going to expand their territory up north as far as they can. The Danube country is being very careful, as they are a country established on a river, and if something you didn't know about a river is that it frequently floods. And if your river floods and you're not really caring about the people and just expanding, then the people are not going to like that, and bada boom, bada bang, your color is going to change. Of course, that didn't actually happen, and they're just looking out for that. But going over here to Western Europe, these three countries are kind of like the birth of Western Europe, at least in this Wixo. And they are going to be expanding, with the green French country now meeting up with the Catalonians, and the dark red French country is going to meet up with them. Now, these guys have become a lot stronger as of the last video, taking a lot of the lowlands, and even making an initiative to try and link up with the Danish country. Speaking of them, they conquer the rest of Copenhagen, and move further south, now taking this little bend, and even landing their divisions here in Sweden. With this, they're going to use their navy, which is quite advanced for this time, and they are going to make very small landings over here in Norway. There will be two, one by Oslo and one by the western area of Oslo. Eventually, it will meet up, and they're going to make a very small colony right here. They also make one right here, wrapping around the south coast of Sweden, and they're going to start to move their navy around here, and eventually, in a storm that is heading east, don't know why I keep getting them mixed up, but the Danish division is going to be sent out east, and they're gonna land over here in Riga. And basically, like, the entire crew, like, passed out and fell asleep, so they're not really sure how far away they are. Like, for all they know, they could have slept for weeks, and they're, like, all the way over here. So with this paranoia comes the establishment of a new nation, of which being the Latvian nation. These guys are instantly very powerful, as they are made of explorers, and those explorers were on navy ships. And if you don't know something about people, the people that are in charge of the navy are pretty good with boats. And being good with boats in this series is very essential. So they're able to establish themselves here in the Baltics, and they're able to link up with Danish exploration forces, eventually discovering a lot of Eastern Europe. A big push is made to go east, and they're able to expand their mainland over here, down further into Königsberg, and into northwestern Poland. Their capital shall be right here. And now we have a good chunk of European countries who are relatively strong. But wait a minute, the French country says they have made a discovery. What? Oh no.
Oh, Jiminy Cricket, they've discovered bloody England. Oh, fiddlesticks, what the fuck?
Yeah, so they're going to discover England. And with the discovery of England comes a lot of deja vu with a lot of the African countries. Not these ones, the ones in real life. They're going to make a very small port colony, which is the first trace of English culture in our series. But going away from that, we are now going to be going over here to Catalonia. And these guys are very, very strong and very good explorers. So good that they explored the entire Iberian Peninsula. But one thing apparently they're not good at is keeping their people in check, as a big group of people kind of just go out here and establish a new nation. But by the way, these people are very sane and not mentally wrong in the brain. They're going to put their capital right here on this river, and there are a lot of rivers down here. In fact, there's a whole system of them, so they're just going to go ahead and take that territory. And they're going to actually decide to split up the Iberian Peninsula with Catalonia, and that will look like this. So I guess now we're doing mass expansionism, because I am not liking the pacing of the series, and I want the world map to be a little bit more filled in, because we're on episode 10, and that's a pretty big number. Okay, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a kickstart for the Balkans. And it's going to be a little complicated, so just see if you can keep up. First of all, these guys are going to have a very small rebellion up here in the northeast. They don't take too much mind to that though, as they're going to keep expanding up here. Though this was the concern of the Danube country, these guys are actually confirming that this should be a concern they have, because these guys are just going to expand further, and the people here are going to be even more upset that they're ignoring them. But some people are actually kind of happy because now they can just ransack the territory and take a lot of the Bulgarian countries east. And by now, they're not really the Bulgarian country, more as the Albanian country. But nonetheless, they are going to be having a lot of their territory taken by this rebellion. Eventually, they're able to sign a ceasefire with them. And with this ceasefire, or I guess not a ceasefire because they don't have guns, but with this ceasing of fighting, they are going to see the independence of this brand new nation. But they're not going to really hold what they preach, as they're just going to have a lot of expansion out here. And eventually, they become one of the largest countries in the Balkans. Now, that's not good, given your reputation of breaking away because of the country you're becoming. So a new country is going to break away from the country that just broke away, forming a brand new northwestern Bulgarian country. And these guys, much like their predecessors, are going to expand further out here west. And yeah, that's just about my ramble complete. The Balkans still looks basically as messy as it does in real life, but there were a little bit of border complications here. So like there are going to be some exclaves. There's going to be another one which like connects up for some reason. But then these guys are going to have a border dispute. What? Oh, but here's where it's going to get bad. The yellow team is going to have a border dispute with the brown team, which eventually they win. And it's going to look a little something like that. But the international community, aka the brown team, is going to allow for the orange country to keep a big population pocket, which just so happens to be right here. And eventually the green team is going to let these guys connect it up to their mainland. And this is what we see arising out of that. So, yeah, that's not very pretty. In fact, we'd probably see a lot more border gore in, the ancient era. But I guess we're not seeing as much of that, and I'm not really sure if that's a good or bad thing because of accuracy or how good I want my thumbnails to look. But now going over here, where we're going to be seeing the dark green country and the lime team working together. So the green team is just going to try and improve their overall strength. Not exactly trying to show up the red team, but they are definitely going to be giving them a run for their money. With the lime team, they're able to explore in these areas. And them and the lime team are going to be able to expand into these areas a lot. The lime team, who is a lot more professional than the dark green team, is just going to establish their borders looking like this. They're even able to reach out, blocking off the Vietnamese country. And a lot of these southern Chinese countries are going to expand out into this area too. And, you know, South China as a whole, before they inevitably collapsed, they were pretty good expansionists. So we're going to see that represented here by the lime team working together with a lot of these South Chinese states. And they're able to claim a lot of territory. Going over here to Hokkaido, we are going to see this brand new Hokkaido team who formed from the colony of Korea. They're going to send their navigation forces and they're going to do a little bit of island hopping, heading up the Kuril Islands, eventually landing in this one, and then they get to Kamchatka. They're going to claim this island, and along with the help of Sakhalin, they're going to explore a lot of Kamchatka. They're going to establish a very small colony down here, and these guys are actually becoming very strong. But remember what I said in the previous episode, we saw that these guys were a lot more like farmers, probably a lot more like communists. Communists in the sense of the balance between state and people. But these guys are like the urban overlords rule their country, and that's not very popular. So there was a big push to remove them from the map. And yeah, not sure how well you guys can see that, but the gold team has just went ahead and unified Hokkaido. And of course with that comes the eradication of capitals and the institution of the gold team. And with this newfound land, they're able to ramp up their production and start to take more of Kamchatka, of which they're very good at doing. The Sakhalis are going to send their forces up here into Siberia. This is definitely a thing that I think a lot of Wixo YouTubers mess up with their like pacing, definitely with Siberia. So we're just going to see the Sakhalis expand further north into, well, Siberia. And in fact, I'm probably just going to do a lot of expansion for a lot of countries everywhere. Like, for example, oh, these guys, they're going to take a good chunk of territory. Oh, these guys too. Wow, look at that. Guess what these guys are going to do? They actually lose territory a little bit because their economy is kind of bust. But guess who's going to gain territory? It is going to be these guys. And they gain a very healthy amount of territory. Oh, and this border is absolutely horrendous. So the leader of this country is going to go to the leader of the pink country and they're like, hey, we kind of want this. And the pink country is kind of like, no. But these guys are a lot stronger than the pink team other than the size difference. So they're going to be able to just kind of move in their people and therefore also their army. And eventually the pink team has no choice but to give them the territory. And these guys are going to be able to solidify their country. Sorry, my vocabulary is a little bit cooked.
Excuse me.
Sorry. So, anyways, just Don't worry about that, what I just did. We're gonna see the Caspians. They're actually going to ensue another policy of mass expansionism, but this one is definitely a lot more tame, as, you know, they know what happened last time. But now they're attempting to one-up the brown team. Now, the brown team is very strong and very powerful, and also very capable. They could easily, like, wipe out Ukraine and Romania and probably become one of the strongest countries in the world. But right now, it's not in your interest, because this whole complicated thing that would definitely upset some people if you literally just went ahead and invaded countries. So Caspia is going to kind of use that to kind of box in the brown team, interestingly enough. And Caspia actually has a goal: become Russia. Now, that's quite a task. Russia is one of the areas that have been the most place where the biggest country has been most of the time. Sorry, my English not working. But there's like all of that, and they're not going to grow up to look like that. But they're definitely going to try to, as this policy of mass expansionism is actually going to be supported by the people. The Caspians become massive. If someone says like the low taper fade in the comments, I'm actually going to cry. And eventually their country grows out to look like this. Definitely a massive rebound, and they are probably kind of rivaling the red team for strongest country in the world. So actually, you know what? We are going to do a just kind of country size ranking thing. Now, in terms of pure landmass, it's definitely the red team. They are the biggest. I mean, without even distorting the map, like look at them over like the brown team and the entirety of Western Europe. They're pretty big. But then it's probably followed by like China, and then Caspia, then the orange team, and then the brown team. And after that, it gets a little foggy. Probably the Burmese country, if I were to guess. But going away from that, we are going to see one final event occurring. And I made that sound like it was going to be a major plot point. It's really not. It is just the Eastern Caspians making a claim and agreement with the Gold country and the Afghan country that they're just going to be expanding out here to the east. And yeah, they're looking quite nice. But that will do it for today's scenario. If you guys did enjoy, then please consider liking and subscribing. Remember, we are on that road to get 200 subscribers by the end of the year. And I think I'm actually limiting myself a little bit, because if I just look at my phone here real quick, and I check our current sub count, yeah, we're already at 120. And what is it, October 27th? At least for me it is. For you it's October 30th. But yeah, actually, we are gonna be aiming for 300 subscribers by the end of this year. And I'm like, what? It might seem a little bit out of the realm, but I do think we can do it. 300 subscribers by the end of the year. And with that goal in mind, we now have a mindset. We are in the mindset, and we are actually locked in. But tomorrow will be the final day of double daily upload week. It's been very nice. But on that note, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video, the final day of double daily upload week.